Right now, pretty much everything is going Republicans' way. You had big wipeout elections in Virginia and New Jersey.
Oh, what a night it was.
Didn't win in New Jersey, but it was a huge shift in the vote total. Very low approval ratings for President Biden right now. He's dipped into the 30s in a number of national polls. And you have real kitchen table issues that are hitting voters that are being blamed now on Democrats.
A lot of Republicans would say it's Trump's party.
When's the last time you spoke to Donald Trump?
This morning.
The base, a lot of members, if you listen to, do see him as the leader of their party.
Wow, thank you very much, everybody.
He remains the biggest voice in the party. He is continuing to set the agenda in the party. Everyone in the party is sort of operating under his shadow or reacting to him. He continues to pick fights with other Republicans.
It's a very tenuous situation with Trump, no longer in office, but still very powerful, influential. McConnell is in office, able to raise money, able to exert his will in the Senate because of the filibuster, for example. After the election, on December 15th, McConnell announced on the Senate floor that
the Electoral College has spoken. So today I want to congratulate President-elect Joe Biden.
And then McConnell had a very contentious phone call with Trump in which he basically told the president, you lost the election.
Mitch McConnell should have challenged that election because even back then we had plenty of material to challenge that election. He should have challenged the election.
Both of them told me in interviews that they haven't talked since then. And Trump has called for McConnell to be ousted as the Senate Republican leader.
He has demonstrated that he can increase turnout for Republican candidates. He can bring people into the political process that the Republicans didn't have access to before. If you look at the Virginia election results, Terry McAuliffe got more votes than any Democrat in the history of that state and lost pretty handily. And a lot of that is because there was massive turnout in rural areas of the state. Youngkin had a real challenge. He was going into a state, Virginia, that has really been voting blue in recent years. The way he did it was he didn't talk about President Trump. He didn't engage in the sort of culture war stuff that the former President Trump was engaged in. And the key part of all that was he did it with Trump's permission. There were conversations he was having during the campaign with former President Trump, explaining his strategy, explaining why he wasn't inviting President Trump to Virginia to campaign with him. And Trump was okay with it. Trump felt like they had a connection, business people. He respected Youngkin. He felt like Youngkin was running on his policy platform. He felt like he was being respected by Youngkin. And so he never made waves. He wanted the win.
I did ask him about 2024, and he said that essentially he can't declare now because there's various campaign rules. It would become too complicated. Certainly at rallies and conversations, he's made it seem like he's running. You can't absolutely be certain with Trump, but he certainly made all of the signals as if he will. And as soon as he says, I'm not, his power would immediately diminish. So it's also in his interest in the short term to leave the impression that he will run.
There's enormous optimism when it comes to the House. It's a 5-seat margin right now. Redistricting is going to give Republicans an advantage. And you have all these historical crosswinds that are going to help Republicans. There's very few Democrats I talk to now who think there's much chance of holding on to the House.
Here we are 10 months or so after the insurrection, 10 months after the inauguration of Joe Biden, and Trump is still the star of his party.
His current state of mind, I think, is very good. I think he feels like he's in a very strong position to return to power if that's, what he chooses to do.
And we will make America great again.
To continue to maintain his position in the Republican Party. And we reported that in late August, he was talking to aides about maybe just announcing for president right then. I think his mind is also that if he can come out of the midterms with a Republican win, he can then take credit for it in a way that would help him going forward into the 2024 presidential election.